Hello and welcome to Davis on Davis. We were going to start our series on Mine or Mine today, but then something happened. You know how we've been talking about how Zach is co-producing a show at the Edinburgh Fringe? Well, it turns out he's also going to be at the Camden Fringe on the 22nd, 23rd and 24th of August, so this threw our schedule into disarray. On the bright side, this means if you live anywhere near London, go and see his show Anti-Heroin. You've got no excuse now that you don't need to drag yourself to Scotland. Anyway, instead of your regularly scheduled programming, this episode is a compendium of outtakes and awkwardness from our series on Bob and Rose and The Second Coming. But before we get to that, I need to talk about something. Since we last recorded, when we did the episode that will come out in a fortnight, I went to Brighton Trans Pride and had the most amazing time. It was filled with placards and slogans calling for real change, and in opposition to the specific people who right now in the UK are making the lives of transgender people and queer people in general worse. Seeing the solidarity between so many parts of the community was incredible, as well as the intersectionality with other social justice movements, and the active opposition to companies that make the world worse and then use a pride float to launder their image. Not enough pride events demonstrate this. Many want to be about how supposedly everything is okay now. Funnily enough, I do complain a bit about the main Brighton Pride in the next episode, but in a more humorous and unserious way. When we say pride is a protest, that doesn't mean pride cannot be fun. At every point, the call for those in charge to do better was central, but there was still music and performance, and one park with a bar and another park with an alcohol-free picnic zone. The gays and the theys love to party, and we can do that without turning a protest into an apolitical parade. I should probably explain why I'm driving this point home. On the 30th of July, the High Court in the UK upheld a decision to ban puberty blockers for transgender children. This was a decision made by the Conservatives, but one the Labour cabinet made permanent once they took power. There's some history to this decision regarding what's known as the Cass Report. If you don't know what that is, then I implore you to listen to the Trash Future episode, The Devon Report, featuring Kill James Bond. It's got Abigail Thorne from Philosophy Tube in it, and it's a better summary of all the awful stuff the government is doing than I could ever give. I am just going to explain why this offends me as a queer person and insults me as a scientist. In the recent ruling, puberty blockers have not been banned for precocious puberty, which is when a child begins puberty too early. Not everything is known about the long-term impacts of puberty blockers, but this treatment has been given to kids since the 1990s, and the psychological impact of precocious puberty is so severe that it's deemed worthwhile to prescribe it. Being transgender is not bad, it's not good either, it's just a thing people are. If a child or adult ends up having transitioned their gender, that is fine. And in fact, if their mental health is improved, then I'd say that's about as good as it gets. If someone needs puberty blockers for whatever reason, their gender identity should not impact whether they get it, and viewing gender transition as a bad outcome is really gross. If someone goes through the puberty they don't want, that is bad. Puberty is not reversible, but puberty blockers absolutely are. And when a doctor prescribes them, it's because they've evaluated the potential harm of no intervention and the need to mitigate that. I mentioned precocious puberty, but prescribing puberty blockers for gender dysphoria has been done since the 2000s in various places. This outright ban is not in response to something that just happened in the world of medicine. For many, but not all, puberty blockers are followed by cross-sex hormones later on. The numbers vary a bit, but the rate of people who go on to detransition is around or below 1%. We should absolutely support the needs of detransitioners, like access to necessary HRT, something that also applies to trans people, but there are a lot of other treatments that have nowhere close to the level of success that gender transition has, and so the government focusing on transgender healthcare in the way that they are is motivated by politics and not public health. If you're any kind of transgender or gender non-conforming, I have one thing to say. The people orchestrating this attack on your dignity and humanity will one day face justice, and you're going to want to see that. LGBTQ people have fought hard for what we have today, We are never going to stop while there is work left to do. It is not a matter of if, but a matter of when. Do not forget that. That is what I wanted to say on the issue, and now we can continue with the episode. Now, on social media, I promised that Owen on YouTube was returning to the podcast this week, and technically, I'm staying true to that because he's in some of the outtakes. In 2 weeks' time, he'll make his proper return for Mine All Mine episode 1, but until then, enjoy this bonus episode. You only have to be lucky once. I'm not going to keep going on with that joke there.
We get this.
I love just saying that, just for no reason. We have to be lucky once. I love saying that because you can say it in so many contexts, and it's likely that people won't know what you're referencing, and good, yeah,
only because I'm on Twitter too often I know what you're referencing. What they did not expect it to be brought up in a discussion about Bob and Rose, but that's the magic of the Davis on Davis podcast, folks.
It's because it's a very applicable phrase. There are so many contexts where, like job interviews, you only have to be lucky once.
Finding Bob and Rose online to watch somewhere, you only have to be lucky once.
Oh, I don't know where we can even go from that.
yeah, I can't. Where were we?
Collate that all together into a portfolio. So you can follow me on all platforms @inabit. I don't know if that was funny or if that worked.
That
made sense at all.
I won't deny that was a bit, but was it?
It was good.
Did it have legs? We'll let the audience decide.
But tell us in the comments.
Well, because I realised 5 minutes ago that I hadn't come up with a plug, and I was definitely feeling the heat there. Normally, I do just come up with them during the course of the episode, but I think it's just gone. It's just gone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I used to work for a company that did for peers social media. So I did run Brighton Peers social media, and they're really insistent you call it Brighton Palace Pier. It has to be Brighton Palace Pier. You can't just call it Brighton Pier, which kind of makes me want to just call it. Because at this point in time, there's only one operational pier in Brighton. There used to be 2, and now there's only 1. So you can just kind of call it the one pier. I think, does anything else happen in the scene? We can move on.
No, I mean, we meet William, who I think is either Bob's dad or his mum's partner. It's not entirely clear.
I think it is dad. No, from the Wikipedia, it's dad.
He flirts with the old women packing the envelopes, but it's funny. But at the moment, it's not that notable. The only thing that's notable is both Bob's parents call him Robert.
Yes,
which is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Rose was stuck home at telly. What's some of that?
There's a college humour, which is basically some gay people saying, "Hey, if you don't let us get married, we will steal your girlfriends." And then they're we're more hygienic, we cook better, we're better at networking and playing tennis with her dad and stuff. And then they're like, "But what about sex? That's where you have us beat." Nope, because all the things she likes that you're trying to guess, she's already told us. And so, yeah, quite funny. And also, we know how she likes her threesomes, and it's with 2 guys. Lovely, lovely stuff. Which is funny because there's a Seinfeld episode where Elaine falls in love with a gay man and tries to turn him. And the thing that makes her realise it was a big mistake is because the sex is terrible. And I thought that was so interesting. Anyway,
the last bit of the episode is Bob telling Rose, "That's enough talking for now."
Good advice, Bob. Yeah,
cut to credits.
Well done for cutting me off there.
He's got it.
As I went deep into sort of one of the more problematic Seinfeld episodes, and I'm trying to tell this to you, no, this is the thing, and you're just looking at me through a camera with dead-eyed stare, what the fuck, Louis? In the words of Bob, I think we should stop talking now. And once again, we get the really dramatic cut to the end credits.
Explosions could be happening, Lee.
It'll be just like the ending of Years and Years, because of the explosions in that.
Yeah, no. I have seen.
Okay, good. I just no response on that one. Okay.
Oh, it's okay. Sorry. Yes, I do know what the League of Gentlemen is. Yes.
Okay, good. It's just you didn't get that quote.
No, but I've never.
It's the most famous.
I've never seen it.
Okay. It's.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say you can a local shop for local people. You can imagine what the sketch is gonna be about.
What, a local shop?
Yeah, and just the idea of being incredibly sort of local and close-minded and. and Bob. I was about to say Bond. I'll just say it back. I'm sure I'll love you at some point. It's fine.
Oh, Louis. Oh,
Because I
don't like that.
Because I see stuff like this, and I'm like, I honestly don't want to I don't want to have to deal with that. You know.
Well, I don't want to have to deal with.
It's all hormones anyway. Let's just be fine. Let's just be fine. I think, as we know from previous episodes, she's done so much kind of research on gay rights and homophobic groups and their funding and all that stuff and all this stuff that she's fighting. And so she's able to actually point at a bus and say, well, you know what, that bus company, the owner donates loads to homophobic legislation. And
the bus is quite a bit like there's some things to say before the bus.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Well then go.
If that's okay. Sorry. So she says the work as.
So Zach, any closing remarks?
I think I've done my closing remarks. I feel suitably closed.
Yeah, so do I. I think going through all my favourite quotes. I don't know how that's going to come out in the edit, but I had fun. I had fun doing that.
Woohoo!
Now you know what, we're doing that again. Okay. And Zach, do you have anything to plug?
Oh no, but now you didn't. Now you said you actually said plug. So now the bit of you saying the wrong word doesn't work.
Okay, well then we'll use the bit of me saying the wrong. I was just
use the one. That's funny. I think that was funny. I was kind of half.
You think it was funny when I used the wrong word?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine then. All we have to say now is bye, so don't worry. We can.
Yes.
Yeah, let's actually do that. Okay. Ooh-wee, ooh, I look just like Holly's body. Oh, and you're played by Leslie Sharp. I don't care that you can't stream the show anywhere. I don't care about that. Don't you ever fear Louis and Zach here. We're watching Bob and Rose. Welcome to the pod. Please stick around. I will stop singing now. Yeah, so the reason that's the worst bit ever is that I do the verse after the chorus just to really make it painful.
How much do they get fined, Louis? That's what I really want to know.
Well, we'll get there in a sec because and William makes a snide remark like yes, you are a crazy bitch. I don't think he calls her that. What does he say?
I can't remember. I don't have it written down what he.
That's good. That teases the audience. Ooh, there's a Fringe show.
Shall we dive into that then?
Yes.
So after he.
So yeah.
After he.
You go.
Sorry, off script here. I was just Googling something whilst you were saying that. Did you talk about the 10 minutes going to 20 minutes?
No. I'm literally trying to remember what Holly said.
Okay, I've got it all in front of me.
And what Bob said, and then what Holly said.
I've got it all in front of me, I can say.
Good. Okay.
Holly then doubles that. Pass it, double it or pass, take it or double it and pass it on to the next person.
And so Carl tells Holly that he would have shagged Bob, and that's where he felt it was going, but Bob stopped it. No. Okay. So
this bit is. I'm not gonna lie. This bit was confusing.
Yeah, but let's just go again because I can just say it properly, and then we'll say it's confusing. Okay. Yes. No. It is. What I was thinking of something that's very sad. Anyway. So then, I've put in my notes, Steve searches the Second Coming online, because he's on his computer, and he searches the Second Coming, but he writes it with, underscores. And I think, actually, he's writing, a mass email or something.
It would be the implication of the following morning, where he has a load of emails in his inbox, 150 emails in his inbox.
Yeah. So, he writes, a mass email to sort of say that, Jesus is, or the Second Coming of God is back. This is happening, meet tonight at this stadium. And so then Judy opens her door and Pete is there, and then Steve is also there, but Pete is there to say oh yeah, we're going to this thing. And she's like, what's going on? And so it turns out that basically a bunch of singing Christians, let's say, are all sort of are all convening and going into this stadium at night time. Clearly this isn't working, but then he has a vision of Fiona. In my notes I just put a woman. I think is fair in front of the first scene.
Yeah, it is.
Because I was like, oh, it might be her. So what she's doing is she's his John, Luke, Mark, and the Matthew, is it? those are 4 books of the...
What?
What are the 4 books?
The 4 Gospels.
I think that's why there's 4 of them. That must be like why there's 4 of them as a bit of...
Maybe.
Those are his like 4 Gospels, so...
Maybe.
Dave is like... and this is at a dinner where Steve isn't there, but Dave is like... Because Pete is brown, of South Asian descent, he's like, oh, I thought you would have been like Muslim or something, and he's like, no, I'm a Christian. So there you go. You shouldn't judge without asking for... Judge a book by its cover. That doesn't sound right for this one. Just don't assume. That's the... but like all the other family members who were alive in 2000 did, because all the birth certificates were reissued, and now they're reissued by the actual government. But also, my mum's first name is actually... She went by like the second name or the third name in her name, because it meant Marie, first name, second name, surname, but she always goes by the second name. But now in her passport, it's just the name she uses, which was her like penultimate name, her second middle name. And I don't know how much of this is going to go in. I imagine not all, because I realize I trailed off into like some really random specifics. But and like I think the chaos of like sort of people and cars, because, you know, not to get into too much urbanism YouTube content, but cars are quite big and they sort of intrude on like sort of the space that is afforded to like people walking around. And the good like cop that's sort of been sort of helping Steve this time goes to let him cook, goes to the commissioner and says like one of the guns was taken out of storage. We don't know where it is. The guy's like, look, it's fine. Okay, the chaos of last night, one gun went missing. It's not a problem. But obviously, that's the gun that Frank has, and so he sees the demon eyes. He figures out that, oh no, this guy's evil. He sees... so then he's like, I gotta run. I gotta stop this. And it's the classic thing of Frank is going up to like Steve's sort of... a room with all the like cameras and stuff. He's going up there in a lift, and so the police officer has to run up the stairs. And then he has a heart attack. Steve has been torn down by one guy, really, just by his dad. That's all it took. Thanks for listening to this bonus episode of Davis on Davis. We will return with an all-new series on Mine or Mine, where, for the first time, we will be leaving Manchester. So wish us luck, and until then, take care.